Good evening, guys. Type in chat if you guys can hear me, and we'll get this futures trading review underway. By the way, I'm gonna post yesterday's futures trading review right after this on YouTube, and this one will be pretty quick. So I took 5 trades today. However, I was still in voice with you guys live and live on YouTube for 2 hours. Was a pretty interesting day. Not the greatest price action, but I was able to make it work. And if I stuck around, price action, like we kind of predicted, did continue being good. So if I stuck around and broke my rules by doing so, I would have made more money. But let's review what we did, and yeah, we'll just get that going. So first hour of trading was good. By the way, with the options reviews, I had to stop doing those for a little bit. I think maybe tomorrow, um, instead of the study session, or maybe I'll still do the study session. I don't know, but at some point, I think I'm just gonna review the entire week in one bulk 1 hour long options review. So that's on the way. But all right, so this is kind of what I was working with. We had a major drop. Was a good options morning. It was chopping a lot, and typically I don't make money during chop. However, my sentiment was bearish today. So because it was chopping towards my sentiment, I was able to make some money. But we started right here. And my big thing was I had this major pivot on NQ. This was kind of my big thing today. I had this major pivot on the NASDAQ, and it barely missed it. So that was my bearish sentiment at the moment. Let me just highlight this. It's not giving me it. No. There we go. So that was my bearish bias. And as you can see, NQ was weaker than ES. And it was kind of conflicting. I wasn't too sure. What I did know also, I did have some bullish bias on the NASDAQ as well. I did have a pretty nice trend line right here. Very nice 4-point touch trend line. Pretty much perfect. That needed a break at some point. I also had this very solid level on ES, which failed to sweep once, so it was already tested once, making it a very good pivot. Just one tick away from being a perfect double top. So I had some mixed bias, but you know what? We've been dropping, and NQ looked like a bear pennant at the moment. ES, however, looked completely different. It looked like a bull flag that was potentially breaking the upside. So very conflicting bias. As you guys know, out of the last 15 days, only like 2 of those days was a second hour of price action, good price action for me to trade. Today wasn't looking too much better, but I had high hopes that this was going to break to the downside. And it didn't. We started kind of going up. I'm like, okay. I'm starting to be bullish for ES to get to this high. It's stronger than NQ. It's invalidated a majority of this drop. And this is the nearest major point of liquidity. Technically, this is actually to this. So this was one of my PTs. So I was starting to, okay, you know what? I'll put this bearish bias aside. It looks like it's going up. Plus, ES is stronger than NQ, and NQ also looks like it can break this trend line. Maybe we do go up. Anyways, we are climbing right now, and I'm trying to look for some consolidation so I can get in, and we get a drop. I'm like, okay, this drop invalidates. I'm in. Then this candle happens. Unfortunately, I waited for the last 10 seconds of the candle to open, or sorry, to close, or to enter. I always wait for the last 10 seconds of the candle to enter my position. So close to the candle to close. But I ended up getting a bad fill. I filled all the way up here. I wanted to fill down here, but I had to pull the trigger regardless. I was confirmed in. It was still below the pivot, which was a bare minimum. I don't like buying a higher high. So the fill wasn't great. There's not much I can do about it, though. I followed all my rules. This was the PT, just one tick above this high. And my stop loss was just a little bit above here, I believe. Yes, right here. So as you can see right away, if you're looking at the amount of points these trades are, this stop loss here is an above average green trade for me. This stop loss right here is about 30% larger than or 20 to 25% larger than my average loss. If you're not willing to take it, size down or don't take the trade. But in my mind, it's either going to hit PT or it's not. My average isn't going to affect whether it's going to stop out or not. Because if it does stop out, sure, if I had a better average, my stop loss would be lower. But I think if it does come down, which it's not super likely, but if it does come down, it's going to probably test demand. That's what I'm thinking. It did instantly do that. So that was a quick stop loss, a quick loss there. I'm like, okay, well, maybe we get the world's ugliest inverse head and shoulders. I could still be bullish for this high. But it's really hard for me to ignore that NQ is putting in a pretty nice trend line. And even though this flag is steep, so this flag is really steep, which is kind of a red flag. If it were really bearish consolidation, it usually wouldn't be that steep, especially considering, I mean, it invalidated a lot of this entire drop. More than 40% of the entire drop it invalidated. For bearish consolidation, that really shouldn't be doing that. So that's kind of a red flag. But I'm like, all right, well, you know, if this is such a solid price target, NQ barely missed it. If we break to the downside of here, I'm confirmed in short. And that candle happened. All right, so I opted in. Perfect trade, perfect analysis. I can't really get a better entry than this. The thing with today, look how far the PTs are today. Market was moving a lot. So I'm thinking, okay, well, it doesn't look like it's going to be a choppy second hour. Things are moving, so this is good. I'm getting confirmed into things. Perfect trade. This trade was beautiful. And boom. So I got stopped out. Oh well. There's nothing really I could do about it. It was as good of a trade as I could want. Confirmed in through all my analysis. If I saw that same trade tomorrow, I'd hop in this. I'd take the exact same trade I just did. It is what it is. However, now, here's the problem. I hate when, okay, so clearly the market's chopping, but it's chopping aggressively enough. There's enough volatility for me to get triggered into a bunch of trades. Because now we invalidated most of this drop. ES is strong. I'm triggered back into this long trade. Now, granted, that PT is really far away. I think my stop loss was roughly here. That PT's far away. Bigger than any green trade that I've had lately. So, you know, that's a big concern of mine. Because I have to think about this logically. Okay, if I take this trade, am I not only willing to spend money to find out this trade's going to work? So am I not only willing to take a loss, am I willing to take 2 losses in a row? Because potentially, worst case scenario, I enter here, valid trade, it comes down, I stop out, and then I'm going to have to hop back into NQ shorts. And it's actually going to have increased odds because it's head and shoulders. But that exposes me to the risk of having 2 big losses in a row because my stop losses are far away today for some reason. They're just far. Am I willing to potentially take 2 losses, right? If you're unwilling, then just take this trade and don't take another one if it stops out, or don't take them at all. You know, completely up to you. But you have to think in advance, just like a chess player. How much are you willing to spend today to find out if your trades are going to work? Protect your psychology, right? So I entered here on ES, confirmed in. It's almost 3 white soldiers. Invalidate a majority of the drop. I'm confirmed in. It's just now I'm very skittish. I'm not that confident because I got hornswoggled twice. So just kind of letting the trade play out. Starts off green, makes a higher high. That's an issue. And I'm like, well, at least ES is stronger because I'd probably be entering NQ short. But NQ was chopping down. Now NQ started breaking to the upside. That's pretty cool. I changed my trend line to here. And I'm like, okay, maybe NQ does break to the upside. No, so anyways, this was a wild ride. This trade ended up being, I thought it was probably going to stop out there, but it didn't. Made a lower low. Sorry, it made a perfect double bottom, actually. So I'm like, oh, shit, that's kind of bearish. Didn't end up breaking, though. And after 40-something minutes in this trade, I think 44 minutes it was, it missed my PT by 1 tick, so that was fun. And then it hit, finally. It did end up continuing up after. Just to supply. But that finally hit. And you know, took forever. It's funny that I get wiped out of 2 good trades, by the way. The hypotheses were good. This is the same hypothesis that I already attempted to enter once. The market just had other plans. Right hypothesis, wrong time. Nothing I can do about it. But it's unfortunate for the psychology that I enter my first 2 trades, get wiped out immediately, and then the one win I have takes freaking almost an hour to get there. So, yeah, that was interesting. So the hour is up now. And you know what? ES is going up enough to where I'm like, well, we invalidated a vast majority of this drop. Frankly, if we break above the 78.6, I don't have really major resistance before the CPI high. Of course, I do have supply right here, which is a risk. And yeah, it has a decent chance of reversing supply because it hasn't been tested, but I mean, I got to weigh the odds here. Once it gets up to here, let's do probability analysis. Reasons it should go up, reasons it should go down. Reasons it should go down, supply, okay? Reasons it should go up, invalidated a vast majority of this drop. It is in a strong uptrend. It is stronger than NQ. And if you want to throw in the fact that there's a very solid pivot right here for it to chase with heavy supply, good liquidity, you can add that too. Worst case scenario, 3 reasons it should go up, 1 reason it should go down. I'm triggered in if that happens. I mean, probability analysis kind of speaks for itself. That's how I do analysis. It's pretty subjective, but it works. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. So I'm letting it go up. I'm like, okay, well, it's going straight up now, and I'm running into the same situation I was feeling here. Because remember, it was going up here. I'm like, oh, man, I want to pull the trigger, but I want to wait for some kind of consolidation. So I'm feeling the exact same way I was here on ES. And going to take ES because ES, well, it has been stronger. NQ looks like some of the green candles may be bigger, but for now, ES is stronger. Okay, we're rejecting. Cool, that's a bearish piercing line. Give me one more red candle. It did not get a red candle. I'm like, okay, I could enter longs here, but I think I'm going to wait. We end up falling. I'm like, okay, let's make a lower low. Boom, there it is. Okay, cool. Now once a majority of this drop invalidates, I'll pull the trigger. Even though it is against supply and it may want to get multiple oscillations, I'm willing to give it a chance. It's okay if I stop out once in pursuit of a really good trade. This is a really good PT. What would deteriorate my psychology more? Stopping out in pursuit of this good hypothesis, or sitting on the sidelines because I'm scared of stopping out and missing out on this great trade? Sitting on the sidelines in this instance would hurt my psychology more, so I'm at a bigger risk financially to not take a chance. So I'm looking to enter here, and right during the next candle, I get the same thing. You guys seeing the similarities here? I wanted to enter here. I couldn't. Waited for a pullback. Got the pullback. Invalidated majority of the move. And I filled, but I actually, and I rarely fill. I usually fill up here and up here. I filled the higher high. Sure enough, I filled the higher high too. So this is an exact repeat of the first trade. So I'm thinking, okay, well, what are the chances that it actually repeats the results of the first trade? Now, the risk reward is much better. This is a loss that I'm willing to take. It's still slightly big. I'd say my average loss is 16 ticks maybe. But still good risk to reward. ES is stronger at the time of entry. And I didn't really like that I was buying a higher high in supply, but it's stronger than NQ, and NQ is invalidating a majority of this drop. It's okay enough for me to enter. And plus, I could give it a bigger risk to, a bigger stop loss. But I'm like, you know what? If it comes down here, it's probably going to, just like last trade, it's probably going to get to demand, right? We're probably going to sweep these lows if it does drop. So that does the exact same thing in the exact same amount of time as the first trade. I enter a higher high. Unfortunately, 2.5 candles later, I stop out. Right here and here. It's real life proven deja vu. So I'm like, wow, that is actually crazy. But anyways, I'm going to give another chance if it comes back up. I do have a new NQ trend line, which is this one here, which looked pretty good. So I'm still thinking, okay, well, this is was it this? Why does my trend line look different? I swear it was like perfect earlier today. Someone go back to like the futures recording. If you guys watched the live trading recording, it was perfect. I feel like. Yeah, I really feel like this was perfect. I feel like this, whatever, it's pointless. Anyways. Well, we start dropping hard, and I'm like, oh my gosh, am I going to have to enter NQ shorts? But ES is stronger than NQ. It's not dropping nearly as much as NQ. So I really wanted to enter NQ shorts, but I wait for it to get a bounce. And oh my gosh, I really wanted to enter here. It's the exact same thing that was happening earlier in the session. I'm like, what is happening right now? Because I entered the same trade here, stopped out, and what happened after I stopped out of this trade? I flipped to NQ short here. The exact same thing is happening. So not gonna lie, that kind of made me concerned that it was just destined to repeat itself over again, so I didn't really want to enter NQ short. But I was kind of willing to. Honestly, if it would have dropped a little bit more, I would have filled it. But I was really wanting to wait for a bounce because you know what? It has a good chance of putting it ahead and shoulders. If it bounces and validates the bounce, then I'll take my short. It'll have a higher probability. So I didn't pull the trigger on shorts, even though I was really tempted to. I really wanted to. And praise God I didn't, because of course it did the exact same thing that it did earlier. I'm like, this is a black and white repeat of an hour ago. Exactly. So I end up filling ES longs. I should have filled on this candle. I didn't. Or, sorry, I tried filling on this candle. I didn't. It didn't fill me. I end up filling right here. Yeah. I filled right here. And NQ did kind of flip stronger. You can see it didn't get a red candle here. The last green candle was bigger. ES invalidated the entire drop, but NQ dropped more. It was really hard for me to choose NQ when it's been consistently weaker all day. It dropped way harder, and it may be bouncing a little harder right now. But I still went with ES. It did have signals that NQ was flipping stronger, and unfortunately, those signals did work out. That was pretty much my stop loss. Bigger stop loss again, unfortunately. Those signals did end up working out. Look how much stronger NQ was, so that was kind of tragic. And this was another long trade. Looked really bad here. I'm like, well, shit. ES is weaker than NQ. It swept higher highs in supply, and NQ swept higher highs in supply. It's looking like and I also had high hopes for this trade because this is the exact same trade that I entered last time that made me the money, and I'll repeat it. Right here, wanted to go long, waited for a pullback, bought, but bad fill, got the higher high, same thing here. Waited for a pullback, got it, bought, bad fill, entered on the higher high, stopped out both in 2.5 minutes, and then this time it dumped enough for me to enter NQ short and stopped in 2.5 minutes. Same thing happened. It dumped after, almost got into NQ short. I would have been stopped out in literally 2.5 minutes. So I'm like, well, last time I re-entered when it shot back up and it worked out. So if the last two things were identical, I'm hoping that this just completes we come full circle here and this completes it. Because obviously I'm red on the day right now. I'm red on the day by, I don't know. At this point I have 3 red trades, 1 green trade. So I'm red on the day by like 1.5 red trades. NQ puts in a bull pennant. That looks good. ES flips strong. Boom, PT hits. We come full circle. I literally just took the exact same trades as I did the first hour, minus one of the losses, because I was a bit stubborn and I wanted a bounce on NQ before I entered and see that bounce and validate. I didn't get it. So, but as far as price action went, it directly repeated itself. I was mind blown. I haven't seen it like repeat itself that perfectly. And I don't even know how long, probably ever. Now, I did say it was probably still bullish to continue running, but I finished green on the day by I was actually red on the day by $4. And the reason why is because when I flipped back to Tradevate, I'm like, shoot, I didn't put my PT here, so I put a new sell order. I'm stupid. Because I saw my stop loss down here, I just assumed the trade didn't exit. So I accidentally went short and lost 25 bucks. So that's why I was actually red by $4. But it was pretty much green day by like 10 bucks, like break even day. And you know what? I'm happy about it. Every single trade was a really solid trade with a really solid hypothesis. Sure, these 2 longs didn't have the best fill, but that made zero difference. That made zero difference as to how the trade actually would have played out, right? It doesn't matter. It would have stopped out the same way. So as far as the hypotheses, it was fantastic. Psychology, all 5 out of 5 psychologies on every single trade. Was a great day as far as discipline was concerned. And TA, it was really good TA. And we ended on a pretty happy note. Made back all my loss. So, and it was a good session. We talked about a lot of good things. If you guys want to watch that, the live trading and just throw it in 1.5x, you guys can. But we did end up kind of continuing up. We put in bullish consolidation here, which actually broke to the upside. I would have made money there. And then we did it again here. Probably would have made money here too. Actually, I know I would have made money there. So if I kept trading, would have made money. Would have went short here. Definitely triggered into shorts there. Maybe I would have been too skittish. But if I didn't, I'm 100% triggered into shorts here. So if I kept trading, I would have nailed at least 3, maybe 4 trades in a row. Make it 5 because this was bearish consolidation too. So if I kept trading, 5 trades in a row, but that's against my rules, right? 2 hours is the max at the moment, and that's just what I'm doing. Great day for supply and demand, by the way. Look at this. Price action was a paid actor to advertise my indicator. But with that being said, that's everything that I did this morning. Does anyone have any questions, comments, anything like that before I wrap it up? Why do you choose the higher high to fill? I didn't choose the higher highs in. That's just what I was dealt. I didn't want to fill during a higher high, but I had to wait for the last 10 seconds of the candle, and unfortunately the candle shot up while I was waiting, and I had to make a judgment call. Okay, do I be greedy and put my order lower and risk not catching the trade? Or do I fill right now, still take part in my hypothesis, and just lose a few extra ticks if it stops out, you know? So I made the judgment call I'm going to get in anyways to participate in my hypothesis, because the slightly bigger loss would hurt my psychology way less than me being greedy and not getting into the trade because I didn't want to fill there and I miss out on the whole thing. Then who knows what would have happened? Butterfly effect, right? Maybe I end up getting triggered into a long right after, where if I made money on that trade, I wouldn't get into another long because I just made money on longs, and maybe I would have lost on that one. Who knows? But the butterfly effect is very real while you're trading, and you want to keep your psychology pristine. So that's just a judgment call that I made. Any other questions, though? Questions? Everyone's good? All right, sweet. Well, that was a fairly quick trade review. Hope all you guys enjoyed. I appreciate you guys for showing up, and we will be back at it bright and early tomorrow morning for hopefully a better day price action wise tomorrow during futures. Was a great day options wise, so hopefully it's the same tomorrow. But I'm sick of these second hour price action just being so choppy. It's been terrible the last 3 weeks. But maybe maybe the curse is broken tomorrow. We'll see. All right, I'll let you know. I'll let you guys know when this futures recording is posted. And yeah, you guys have a great night. I'll see you guys tomorrow.